On the afternoon of Monday, October 23, 1950, General Dwight D. Eisenhower, then president of Columbia University, dedicated the campus building of Community High School District 218, since renamed Dwight D. Eisenhower High School. After Mr. King McCord, president of the Oliver Corporation, introduced the general, the 126th Light Bomber Wing of the Illinois Air National Guard, carrying some 17 Blue Island men, flew over in salute, and the band played the general's flams and flourishes. Amid the flashing of news cameras and the whir of television cameras, General Eisenhower spoke.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, for a number of reasons, I am particularly proud of the invitation that allowed me to participate with you today in the dedication of this great high school. This accomplishment seems to me to symbolize or to typify qualities and concepts which I earnestly believe are vital to the future of America. Firstly, as we look at this great institution just now beginning its work in the service of your community, we are struck by the initiative and courage that it represents on the part of the people that undertook this construction. Here is no patchwork, crazy quilt method of solving a problem, of refurbishing or brushing up on the surface old facilities. It is a bold, big idea, one that was certain to entail sacrifice, material sacrifice, time, to cost worry, and a very great deal of soul searching before it could be accomplished. But obviously, that courage and that initiative was here, and you have a great monument forever to remind you that Americans here in the heart of this great continent have not lost the courage and the initiative that settled it so long ago. And there is here, it seems to me, a recognition that our problems of today, the problems of democracy, cannot be solved except through understanding based upon truth. We have gone a long ways from the simple days of the pioneers that wrested this region from the wilderness. It is no longer possible now, in the stress of economic difficulty, to leave one scene, go to another part of the United States, take over a claim, a homestead from the government, and make a living for oneself and one's family. We have been caught up in the intricacies of the Industrial Revolution, and it is essential that man's understanding proceed apace with the developments of that revolution, else we are apt to become victims of our own ingenuity and our own inventiveness, possibly of our own avidity for creature comforts. So we must have these schools, these great institutions, to teach us, if not solutions to our great problems, the facts underlying them, the spiritual, intellectual, and material values that enter into them, and a means and methods of our own of achieving real answers. Now, I realize that in the construction of this great school, its architects and designers left out one thing, which was hot water or hot air seats and grandstands. And so, I am not going to burden you today with a long recitation of the problems that I think a school like this must help us solve if we are to remain the sturdy, independent, free United States that we have been in the past. But I hope that the weather is not so severe that you will resent my mentioning one or two that lie very close to my heart. One of them I am going to explain by means of a personal experience. It was my duty during the war to address many audiences. They were different from this one in that they were always composed of people in uniform. And I found as I mingled with those men that I addressed that there was one question they always brought to me. Invariably, by groups or by individuals, this question would be asked me. General, why are we fighting Hitler? Why is it necessary for a democracy to defend itself against a dictator who lives clear over here in Germany? What is the basic reason for this conflict? That question was repeated endlessly and in various forms to me throughout the period of the war. And I was constantly searching my own self for a reasonable, decent answer to make to men. Because it seemed to me that the very least that a democracy could provide to its soldiers that are sent into battle, there to die possibly in defense of our country, that democracy should provide them an understanding, give them the consolation of a cause for which they were fighting. And that a realization of such a cause, a feeling for such a cause, was too often absent. I believe that kind of thing must be supplied by our schools. All of us, educators and others, must demand from our school system and from all other like organizations, our churches, our homes, everywhere, that men, young Americans understand what is United States, why does it come in conflict with an opposing ideology, why, therefore, must we, under aggression, be called upon to defend it with our lives. Appeasement with that kind of thing can lead only to our own destruction. And our schools must make this clear, not by indoctrination, but by laying before every student the facts of the developments of the various systems of government. They must remind our young that the founders of this republic feared one thing: concentration of power in a distant authority which would have the opportunity and the right and the power to govern our lives. You will recall that it split up, that Constitutional Convention split up power functionally into three parts, and it split it up geographically. Dispersion of power that could be exerted over us so that through concentration there should be no opportunity for a concentration that would enslave us. By this community undertaking its own job, by laying out the design for this great institution of learning and carrying it through to successful completion, it is not only doing the job that properly belongs to it, but it is holding up before us all an example of what we must do if we are to remain free. The concept of human freedom and of democracy, possibly, let us say, of man's capacity to rule himself, has been on trial. It is now going through part of that trial. Many men have pointed out to us that democracy must take thought as to how it is going to do its job day by day, performing its functions, unless it will fall victim to inaction on its own part and have to concede the responsibilities and with it the authority that we should exercise will have to concede it to a central authority. People that could build such a place as this, and for such reasons, could undertake the burdens and the sacrifices entailed, and could understand that this is a definite part of the United States of America's dream, here reaching fruition. Part of the development will lead on and on into the future, dedicated to men's happiness, men's prosperity, and above all, men's freedoms. Such people will not allow freedom to fail. Their devotion under God will be to the United States of America. And as long as we cling to that one idea and what that country stands for now, has in the past, and must in the future, we cannot go far astray, no matter what the severity of our purely methodical or fights as to procedure among ourselves. Fights that bring out facts and help us to solve our problems. I repeat that I am highly honored by your invitation to allow me to come here and participate with you today in the dedication of this school to America's youth, the most valuable asset we have. Thank you.